1988 was the year the queue voting system was used in a Kenyan general election. Voters did not cast their votes through a secret ballot, but lined up behind candidates of their choice. The candidate with the longest queue behind him or her was declared the winner. Furthermore, if a candidate had garnered 70% or more votes at the party nomination stage, he or she would have been declared elected unopposed. Altogether, 63 MPs, or 40% of parliamentarians, were elected unopposed at the nomination stage through the 70% rule. Many losers cried foul. 25 of them challenged the results in court, but it would be months before the petitions would be determined. The general election, held in March, came after relations between President Daniel Arap Moi and his Vice President Mwai Kibaki had soured. Many of Kibaki's allies, all of them from Central Province, lost their parliamentary seats. They included John Mishuki, who was unseated in Kangema by the former holder of the seat, Joseph Kamotho. Elsewhere, the election also saw the ousting of other critics of the Moi government, such as the former mayor of Nairobi and Minister for Local Government, Charles Rubia. Kibaki was easily re-elected in his home constituency, Othaya, but when Moi formed his new government, he replaced him as vice president with Mathare MP and former vice-chancellor of the University of Nairobi, Josephat Karanja, and gave Kibaki the less prestigious Ministry of Health. And he brought into the cabinet one of the few Central Province Kibaki opponents, Waruru Kanja, as Minister for Information and Broadcasting. With a cabinet of 33, including the president himself, and 72 assistant ministers, the frontbenchers outnumbered the backbenchers for the first time in Kenya's history. Moi now controlled not only the executive, but also the legislative arms of the government. And in the new parliament, MPs elected a Moi man, Moses Kiprono Arap Ng'weno, Speaker, to take over from Frederick Mati, who was retiring after 18 years of service. That year, Parliament also whittled down the powers of the judiciary when it amended the constitution to abolish the security of tenure for judges, the Controller and Auditor General, and members of the Public Services Commission. And Moi would increase his power within the ruling party KANU when in its national elections, Karanja replaced Kibaki as vice president. Other Moi men joined Karanja in the party executive. They included Moses Mudavadi as Secretary General, Peter Olo Aringo as National Chairman, and William Olentimama as National Treasurer. On the business front, 1988 was the year Moi replaced Philip Ndegwa with Eric Kotut as governor of the central bank, following the collapse of a number of African-owned banks. It was also the year Ben Kipkorir, executive chairman of the wholly government-owned Kenya Commercial Bank, announced the bank would sell shares to the public. Kenya was in the international limelight when British Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher paid a visit to the country in January. But it was its performance at the Olympic Games in Seoul, South Korea that year that was the big international news. The country won 5 gold medals at those games. Of the 4 gold medals won on the track, 3 were won by college students on athletic scholarships in the United States. Paul Ereng in the men's 800 meters race, Peter Rono in the men's 1500 meters, and Julius Kariuki in the 3000 meters steeplechase. The 4th gold was won by a soldier, John Ngugi, in the men's 5000 meters race. The 5th gold at Seoul was won by boxer Robert Wangila in the welterweight category. Wangila was the first African ever to win an Olympic boxing gold medal. And Ibrahim Hussein would add to Kenya's sporting fame when he won that year's Boston Men's Marathon. In 1988, Kenyans said farewell to pre- and post-independence political detainee and former member of the first Kenyan Senate, Wasonga Sijeyo. Bomet MP Isaac Salat. Former Nakuru Kanu strongman and nominated MP Kariuki Chotara. Former Nairobi Town Clerk Simon Gitonga. Former police reservist Patrick Shaw. Former MP for Hamisi and Assistant Minister for Education Samson Maitsi. And former MP for Butere Jesse Opembe.